I'd like to invite you all to turn on your videos so that I can see your beautiful faces. If that's your heart's truth, and if it's not, that's perfectly fine for me. It puts me in my truth. So welcome to another session on Heal Your Relationships. Today's topic I've labeled as input equals output. My beautiful souls. Yeah. I wonder if that sort of triggers any thoughts, any questions. I need to put my glasses on. That's why I can't see you all properly. I can see your beauty, but I want the details. Input equals output. What does that sort of trigger in you? Any thoughts? Anyone want to share just a quick phrase, something that we've probably heard before?
Hi, Rosalind.
Hi, beautiful. Thank you so much for joining. It's great to have you with us. Love it. We're
Now,
all
would
family.
would it be basically how much effort you put in, you're going to get back in return?
Kind of, yes, absolutely. It triggers those kinds of ideas, doesn't it? Yes. Yes. Anybody else want to share what it triggers for them? Input equals output.
Hi, Rosalind and everyone.
Hi, Diana. Hi,
Hi.
beautiful soul.
I think in terms of, I think what Yin Chen said was, that was the first thing that came into my mind. But I think another part that kind of resonates with that is karma.
Oh, interesting. Yes.
Yes, you know, like in a way, I mean, input equals output, but I kind of resonate that with you know, what goes around comes around. So you know, if you, yeah, so I think that that'll be something that I think will be interesting to discuss throughout the session. So, but
yes.
I believe it's more for karma. Yeah.
Yes, interesting. What goes around comes around.
Yes.
What effort you put in, you get out. Yes.
Yes.
Michelle, anything to add? Want to add anything? Any phrases of your own? Just little phrases.
Everyone.
Hi, sweetie.
Input and output for me is like manifestation. It's like how much intention we put in, how much we manifest, we just allow output. Yeah, with the output.
Yes, I can't hear you very well. I'm not sure why, but yes, how much intention you put in is roughly equal to what you're going to get out of life or perhaps a relationship. Is that right in saying? Am I right in saying that? Sort of rephrasing of it.
It's a bit laggy here.
It's a bit laggy. That's right. Yes, not to worry. I can just about make out what you're saying. Lovely.
Okay, thank you.
Baharak, any wisdoms coming through? Anything you want to share?
I think I might miss the question because my internet cut out. So.
Oh yes. Well, the question is just because the topic today I've called input equals output, and I just wondered what it triggers, what kind of thoughts it triggers inside you all. Yen Chan has said more or less, I mean, we're all on the same lines really, and you're absolutely right. She said, what effort I put in, I kind of like get back what I put in, kind of thing.
Yeah, and yeah, sometimes you can give more than the other person because they're not in the same place emotionally sometimes.
Yes, perhaps it's just I do believe actually, and it's lovely that you said that it's triggered a thought. I do believe that there are times in relationships when we actually do feel, like we're in that giving space, right? Yeah. And the other one is perhaps doing more of the receiving, right? Yeah. But I do believe that sort of over time, these things sort of like generally just sort of balance themselves out. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Perhaps I should reflect on that, and perhaps it balances itself out just immediately, actually. Let's take a dive. Let's take the dive into input equals output. And before we plunge very deeply into it, I want to recap a little bit on something that we've said before. So for those of you who attended the Heal Your Relationship session some months back now, and I had actually labeled the topic, what is a relationship? And we all gave our feedback. Can anybody remember what we suggested in the end was a relationship? Anybody? I think Baharat, you might have been on the call. I can't remember if you were on the call, sweetie. Am I putting you on the spot slightly here? Because I can't remember who was on the call. But perhaps I'll just.
I remember. Yes? I don't know why. So maybe I wasn't in. I did join your one later. Yen was before me.
Okay. Well, I'll recap for you. Not to worry. A relationship, for those of you who can't remember or didn't attend, is what's happening between You and the other person. It's not them. It's not you. It's everything in between. Yeah. And this is really a wonderful thing to know in a way. Yeah. Because really what we're doing in our relationships is we're putting stuff into this space in between us. Yeah. And each of us is affected by the stuff that we put there, right? I take the analogy of a pot, if you remember correctly. We've looked at this before. Imagine a pot. Imagine your relationship is like a big, beautiful pot. Just imagine a pot. And it's actually your choice what you put in that pot, right? I want to use 2 or 3 analogies today just to sort of really get our heads around this. I put down as I was preparing this for you all that a relationship's a little bit like an investment fund. That sounds really materialistic, right? If you're going to put money, if you're going to invest money into a fund or into a business or something, and you play your cards right with your investment, yeah, it's going to be a return. Can you hear me? Somehow I got muted. Can you hear me? Did I get cut off for a moment?
There was like a movement, like someone was moving something and then it cut off.
Yes, how strange. I think I was muted because my microphone got muted. I'll repeat that then. Maybe I need to repeat it, yes. Yeah. I want you to look at this just simply for the analogy, not for anything more really. I thought of relationships as I was preparing this session for you as an investment fund. Yeah. What I put in, yeah, is going to reward me. I'm going to feel the rewards. Yeah. But we're going to come clearer as to what kind of rewards those are and how they come about as we talk more about this idea of input equals output. I also thought of the analogy of a car. How often have you felt like you're running on empty at times in your life? It's, I'm just sapped of energy. I'm just having to put one foot in front of the other, but I just have got no fuel. Yeah. Imagine your relationship as a car. Yeah. And everything that you put into that relationship is actually you fueling up the car. It's filling the car up with petrol. Yeah. There's a couple of analogies or 3 analogies for you to think of. The problem is, depending on what fuel you put into that car, depending on what you put into that investment fund and how you play your cards with that investment fund, depending on what you put into that pot, it may go a little way, but the car cannot keep on going, can it? Unless you keep refueling it. The car cannot run on empty. The relationship cannot survive without your input. And we want it to do more than survive, don't we? We want it to blossom and grow and keep on growing. For those of us who are in long-term relationships, it doesn't just stay static, does it? Oh yes, I'm married to my husband. I've been married for 11 years and he may or may not join the call. He's busy traveling from Klang back to KL at the moment. Just because I've been married to my husband for 11 years doesn't mean I can sit back and I got the wedding ring, I got the contract, I got the marriage certificate. It's good, done, job done. I have to keep refueling my car or plugging it in now that we've got electronic cars or electric cars. Yeah. I've got to keep putting into that pot. So I would love you to just hold in the backs of your minds this analogy as we go throughout this talk today. To just hold in your minds the idea that a relationship is something I put stuff into. We talk about being in a relationship, but being in a relationship is actually a contribution that you are making from yourself and of yourself. to another, to what's in between. Yeah. So let's just work with these analogies as we move through today's session. So as always, I'm going to share my 3 signature key eye openers, and we're going to start with the first one. Key eye opener number 1. What can I put into my relationship for it to not just survive, as we said, but grow and blossom and really allow me to experience that kind of magic that we all look for in relationships? Instead of looking for it in a relationship and expecting it to show up, we are in control. You are the magician in your relationship. You could even use a hat, a magician's hat as an analogy. It's coming to me now. Whatever analogy you like. But guess who's the magician? It's you, right? You get to put into that hat whatever you want. So I'd like us to do a little exercise today. I'm wondering if I could ask you to grab a piece of plain blank paper. I've got mine, I'm going to show you now. I prepared one earlier. I'm just going to show you the back side. Just like a piece of plain paper. If you can grab a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen and draw a big pot, this kind of size. Can you see? Draw a nice big pot or a magician's hat if you like that analogy. A car will be a bit tricky, but it could be a car if you want. I like the idea of a pot because we can put stuff into the pot. I use this analogy because it's so important to know what we are contributing to our relationships. We kind of like expect them to run on empty. We don't do this consciously, but we do expect our relationships sometimes to run, but yet we forgot that perhaps we're not contributing. So when you're experiencing times in your relationships when you feel like you're getting nothing, when you feel like you're sat, when you feel like that car that's just run out of fuel, guess what? It's time to contribute. I'm turning the relationship psychology around a bit. It's not about what I can get from the other. It's more about what can I put into this pot now? Because I'm feeling sapped. This ain't working for me. I want something more from this. But guess what? When you have those wants, that's your cue to, what can I put in to this pot right now that's going to enhance my relationship, that's going to help it grow further? So some of you may remember that we did this pot analogy, not for our relationships, but for ourselves when we did, I think, the topic on, I can't remember whether it was selfish and self-love, I can't remember now. But we've used this analogy before for ourselves, but I want today to use this pot analogy for our relationships. And I know that you can hear what's coming. I'd like you to write down and make that writing small, because I can bet you that you're going to want to add to it and add to it and add to it as you get those ideas. I've been adding to it. I did mine earlier, and then I was in the garden just sort of centering myself for this session. I was writing down on my phone all kinds of things that I wanted to add more to my pot. And you can do this for all of your close relationships, but start off today with one. So think of a relationship that you would like to address now, and perhaps put the name of the person that you're in your relationship with above the pot. Like I put Terry here, who's my husband. I did my pot and filled up my pot for my relationship with Terry. Just take a moment to think about who you'd like to do this for right now. It's good to just choose and be specific. Everybody got somebody they know who they want to address at this point in time with this exercise? Good to go? I'd like you now to write down all the things that you can put into this pot to truly enhance this relationship, to truly nurture it. It's like watering a seed, isn't it? And you're the gardener. What kind of fertilizer can I put into this pot? And take your time. We won't finish it perhaps today because there's just so much, right? It's like an infinite pot. It is truly like a magician's hat that just keeps delivering, right? That's you. You're the source of all those things that you can put into this relationship that are truly going to enhance it. Make it a little bit like a promise. I'll just give you an example. I wrote at the top of mine, I promise to give this relationship. I made it a bit like a promise, something that I mean, the promise isn't a difficult one to make because I really want to do this. It just brings me joy to even think about all the wonderful things that I want to put into my pot. And I'll just give you one example of one of the things I want to put into my pot, in other words, into my relationship with Terry, my husband. I promise to think nice thoughts of you. I know it sounds quite simple, but how often do we enter into negative thinking and judgment of the other, right? So it's a quiet promise to myself, but it's also something that I want to put into the pot. I still think lovely thoughts of my husband most of the time, but occasionally if I slip into pain, remember all the lessons that we've learned along the way, I may go into negative thinking and blame or judgment. I'll give you an example of another one that I put here. I'm going to own my pain. I promise that I'm going to own my pain and eliminate blame and judgment. Just to give you a couple examples, I'm not going to give too much away because I want it to be yours, and then we can share a few of them and inspire each other, yeah? Because I'm sure that when we share what we put into our pots, into our relationships that we know can truly enhance them, we're going to want to steal a few of those things from each other's pots because they inspire us, right, to do the same. I put down, I want to think nice thoughts of you and wish you well all the time. I want to be sending you beautiful energy, loving energy all the time. What can I put into this pot that really is going to just take this relationship to the next level of magic, to the next level of joy, to the next level of greater intimacy? I've promised total authenticity and total vulnerability. Those are things that I want to put into my relationship that I really feel will enhance them. I'll just take another minute to add a few more, leave some space because there's so much. There's so much because you are an infinite source of good, gorgeousness, love, beautiful things that you can put into this relationship. How cool is that, right? I'm an infinite source of just amazing gorgeousness that I can put into this relationship. Why hold back, right? If I hold back from putting these things into my relationship, what am I doing? I'm not fueling up that car. I'm not fueling it up. I'm not investing in that fund enough to get a reward, to receive the reward. It's a high risk not to play my cards right in an investment fund, forgive the pun. It's high risk. Why? Because the relationship will run on empty and maybe it'll end, right? So we have a big responsibility, but it's a nice one because all these things are gorgeous things. What do? They expand our hearts. All right, beautiful. Just a quick question. How do you feel putting these things down into the pot? Just writing them down for now. How do you feel? Anyone like to share? Is it a struggle? Or does it feel like an uphill struggle? Or does it feel kind of light and nice? Who would like to share? Yes, my love.
I've got a warm and fuzzy feeling because I spent my son. So I was thinking of relationships. I was thinking, oh, it's not going to be a fella because I'm single. And the first person that came into my head was my little boy Bobby. So everything I wrote down is basically what I'm doing now, what I've tried to implement, and it's more natural. It's not forced upon. So I'm being more aware of it, of what his needs, of what I need to do, of how we are. Like we had a moment yesterday. There was this film Wonder, and he's reading it at school, and it came on TV. So we watched it together, and it was just a lovely moment. So he was talking about the book. I was watching it together. It was just those precious moments. His Sunday afternoon that he would be downstairs, playing on the Xbox, and he didn't. He decided to come upstairs and watch it with me, and I was like, okay, cool. So it was really lovely. Then we took the dog out for a walk, and it's moments like that that just made me smile.
That's lovely. Yes, those really are truly precious moments. So what you are already doing now, Yen Chan, perhaps you could just put more time with your son, more awareness of your needs. Yeah, there's always room for improvement. That's not, we're not out of the woods yet. Let's face it. We've all got, including me, just because I'm teaching, it doesn't mean I'm out of the woods. I'm in the same boat as everybody else. We've all got room for improvement. But when we bring awareness to these things, and we can stick this up on the wall somewhere, just like a reminder, That's beautiful. Thanks, Yen Chan. A warm, fuzzy feeling. Anybody else want to share how they feel doing this actual exercise, this activity? Who would like to share? Yes, my love.
I'm ready to share, but I think Michelle just wrote something because she's got issues with her sound. So.
Oh, yes. Let me check. Thanks. A bit laggy here. Oh, struggle to fill up the pot. Trying to be nice in healing this relationship with my mother. Okay. However, let's say she would appreciate an act of helping with the house chores, but personally, I don't enjoy doing house chores. Does this help with healing the relationship? Lovely questions, Michelle. Well, perhaps we can look at, not many people like doing house chores, and I don't always want to help my mum. Sometimes I just feel, But there are times when I remind myself that she's 77, that I'm 52, and I sort of shift the reason why I might help out. Yes, sometimes things are a bit of an effort, aren't they, in relationships or in life? Sometimes we just have to do things that we don't particularly like doing. But what if we could focus more on the reason why we do it and less about what we're actually doing? So maybe, Michelle, it'll help you lighten the load to think of helping with the house chores if your mum needs help, because I love you. Not because I like doing house chores, but because I actually want to help you, because I love you. Yeah. So look more at the reasons why you might do it than the actual chore. And if your heart's truth really says, you know what, I'm just can't bring myself to do the house chores, then maybe have a conversation with her about this. And maybe you can help in other ways, right? Yeah. So perhaps this good, clear, honest communication that you can put into that pot instead of the house chores, for example. Yeah. What I'm looking for here is ways in which you can really enhance your relationships. So you have to dig a little bit here, Michelle. Yes, I don't want to do the house chores because maybe they're expected of me, but perhaps I can do them because ... these are my reasons why, and they make me feel better about doing them than just thinking about it as just straight house chores. Or I genuinely don't want to do them because I just can't bring myself to. It's my heart's truth not to do them, which will put your mother in her truth, yeah, even if she may not like it initially, but there's maybe a negotiation to have. Stay open-minded, sink into the heart, beautiful soul. Sink into the heart and into the truth of your relationship with your mom. Yeah, even though there's maybe stuff in the way. Yeah. Maybe there's some pain. Maybe you can put into your pot, I want to own my pain and hear my pain around not wanting to give to you at this point in time in my life. Whatever that may be. So maybe what you want to put into that pot to enhance that relationship is some self-healing. Yeah. Beautiful. Thanks for your honesty. Baharak, we'll come back to you now.
Okay. I'm not going to say who it's for. Just if I can just share what I've said. I think for the top one, I put less I can't even say this word, dissatisfaction. Patience. I promise to give more patience, kindness, love, hope, trust, time, space.
I'm going to put some of yours down. I like them. I'm going to, as you read them, I'm getting space is lovely, which I already have kind of, but when we come back under the same roof, my husband and I, yes, you're inspiring me. Keep going.
Forgiveness. I promise to ask more, be fearful, be fearless in that. Hear more and explore on what I've heard.
Yes, lovely.
I promise to risk more. I promise to be less stubborn.
Can I just pause you there for a second? With the less stubborn, since this is such a positive activity, right? With the less stubborn and the less dissatisfaction ones, and any of those less ones, can you turn them into a more? Could it be more satisfaction?
Okay, I promise to be more satisfied.
Yes.
And what was the other one?
Somebody remind us.
The
last one that you read, which I can't remember because I've lost my short-term memory. What can I say?
Oh, okay.
Age.
So I don't know what's the opposite to stubborn.
Forgiving. You already put forgiveness down. Open-minded.
Yeah, more flexible.
Flexible.
Maybe.
Yeah, flexible. Nice, beautiful.
More flexible.
Those are lovely ones. Thanks, Baharak.
And I just put less presuming and to open to the fact that I really can't tell between, because there's so much sarcasm without being a dig, can't tell the big difference between sarcasm and declarations of love.
Yes.
And maybe that's to do with my past, and that's why I've also included, which I know I need to change, but less judgment based on my childhood experiences. So maybe.
What's the opposite of judgment? Remember, I think we did it. We've talked about this before, and I did a live IG on judgment way back with Ohana Joe. I don't know whether you attended. What's the opposite of judgment, someone? If I don't judge somebody or something, I am fully
open.
Yes, accepting.
Okay.
Yeah. So more accepting, you could put perhaps.
Yeah. I just the male figures in my life I have like shown me to actually lie to my face, and so it's kind of hard to not believe somebody else is doing that too.
So perhaps you could just put more open to trusting, something like that. What we're doing with this exercise, and the reason why Yen Chan's getting a warm and fuzzy feeling is because we're just kind of like opening ourselves up to what we really want in our relationships here. Yeah. Perhaps one of them is letting go of expectations. That's a big one.
Yeah.
But I'm really getting there with Terry. And I mean, I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying that, my goodness, it actually makes me fall in love with him all over again. The more I let go of expecting anything from Terry, the more I enjoy loving him. And he sent me a message today saying, I'm falling in love with you all over again. I'm like, why? What have I done? Nothing. I did nothing. He's just in a heart open space and just feeling his love for me. Yeah. Isn't that so beautiful?
I think trusting will set them to lead you.
Say again, sweetie.
Trusting them to lead you if you don't know the way.
Yes, perhaps being open to, how can we put that? Trusting, yes, just trusting them, yes. Yeah, beautiful. Who else would like to share? And we can always take from other people's pots, can't we? I've already taken some of Baharak's. Actually, Michelle, what you said is very helpful as well, because there are times when I don't want to help my mum, when I'm tired and feeling used up a bit or whatever, busy, maybe doing something else. But there are times when I feel better putting her before me. Doesn't have to be every time, because then maybe you're going to be running on empty, right? But sometimes, yeah, it feels better. After I've done it, I think, you know what, I did help her out, and I honored her in that gift. Remember we talked about giving, and what an honor it is to give to others. Turn it around, Michelle. Turn it around into an act of love. You'll feel so much better. It'll be effortless to do the house chores. Not every time, maybe, but Diana, you wanted to share?
Yes, I think for me, it would be more of to promise to be myself, as well as to basically better communication, more communication, because sometimes I think when we don't make the effort to speak, to ask them, how was your day, or let them be able to talk and share about themselves first, then it's because I think there's a very big difference between listening and talking. So some people are good speakers, they can talk very well, but they're not good listeners. So, and I think that's something I've been trying to work on myself. And I think for relationships, that's very important as well, because it really, it's a beautiful thing when things actually go two-way, like directly. It's not just someone 20%, someone 80% kind of thing. And I think, especially with people you care, you will talk better. Like I think, for example, how you talk to your subordinates or your colleagues, or like your boss, as compared to someone you really care about. So I think I promise to communicate better, speak better, and definitely be positive. Like I think when you speak to someone and you're in a negative state, the whole conversation becomes very negative, and it's very bad. It just ends up being like, okay, what'd you like to talk about? In the end, you just go to bed not really feeling very warm and fuzzy. Yeah, so I think it's more of, or even if you're in a negative state, to communicate that very openly and honestly to the other, and hopefully after a lot of talk, both of you come to a mutual positive state and end the day very well. Yeah.
Sounds like the perfect relationship. Communication is absolutely crucial in a relationship, and we had a whole session on communication.
Yes.
If you want to look back at the replay, I don't know if you've seen the replay, it's called communication, because it's just so important, right? And yes, the listening part of communication is an aspect that so many of us don't do particularly well. And even I catch myself sometimes, listening, and I'm already sort of like, ahead of and sort of answering it in my head before I've actually finished listening, and honoring them and what they need to say. So yeah, beautiful. Thank you very much. Listening, yes, I put down nice, better communications as well. Yeah. I'm going to read you some of mine. See if you want to steal from my pot. I've put down greater freedom. We already have a lot of freedom in our relationship. Terry and I have so much freedom. I mean, not least because he's on the other side of the world from me. But even if he were on the other side of the world from me, I could be like hounding him with calls saying, oh, who have you seen today? And what are you doing? And, control and stuff like that. Oh, I've put down, where did I address control? Oh no, hang on. Yes, I'm going to take you to that stage in a minute. Yes, total authenticity, I think I mentioned earlier. More gentleness. Sometimes I can be a little bit rough around the edges, so I'm promising him more gentleness. I'm promising this relationship. I'm putting this into my pot. Greater gentleness. I also promise to be very quick to make up if there's been an upset, and to avoid an upset at all costs. But if there is an upset, to be very quick to say sorry, to be very quick to make up. All of this is just going to make your relationships and mine so much better. So you can steal. I'm giving that one out if you like, or any of them. Greater compassion. Greater and ever increasing awareness. In fact, it's ever increasing for all of these, ever increasing awareness. I want to be more and more and more and more aware every day, until the day I die. I want to be growing in awareness so that I can really, really know fully who I'm in a relationship with, know myself so fully that we're just two beautiful souls in a relationship, right? We're bringing heaven to earth in our relationships. This is the doorway to experiencing heaven on earth, in inverted commas. It's through our relationships, but it's up to us to manage them. It's up to us to put into that pot what's going to make it heavenly. Respect, ever increasing respect. Because the more I get to know my husband, the more I get to know how great and incredible he is, the greater the respect, of course. Like, wow, wow, look at this being, look at this being, look at this being. I see him in his greatness more and more every day. I put something else in my pot, which I'm not sure if you have. I put self-love in my pot. Now, this isn't selfish, and if any of you are curious to know the difference, there is a replay video on selfish or self-love. Self-love for me means completely continuing to work on myself, to do everything I possibly can, to be so good with myself, so full of love for myself, that I don't really need anything from him anymore, which means he can have greater freedom. We can have greater freedom. It is a relationship of great freedom. If I don't need anything from him, if I don't expect anything from him, I promise to help in any which way I can, because it's my honor to help him. Michelle, you might want to watch the replay of, what was it called? Giving and Receiving. There's a replay video on giving and receiving. It may help you come to understand that helping your mum with the house chores or giving anything that you don't feel so good about giving, it'll help you turn it around, yeah? It's quite a lot of important information there. I've put into my pot understanding, ever increasing understanding, to really understand this person, to understand you, to know you so well. Integrity, greater intimacy, truer and fuller sexuality as well. Of course, this doesn't, this depends who you're writing your pot for. Oops, you know what I mean, guys. This is my pot for Terry, right? He's my husband. Sexuality is such a huge, huge topic, and I've been literally teaching with addressing it. Every time my Mondays come, up, and I think, oh, shall I address sexuality? But it just hasn't quite wanted to pop its head up because it's so sacred, and it'll come at some point. Good, good, good. Have you got space outside of your pot? Anybody want to show me your drawings? Have you got space outside of your pot? Yes, you have. There's some above. There's some above. Yeah, okay. I'd like you to put, perhaps in a different color, outside of your pots, what you are currently putting into the relationship. We're going to just put all our cards on the table here. What am I currently putting into this relationship that is not enhancing it, that is actually causing damage? Yeah, this is a big one. This is not such a pretty side of things, but it's one that we need to be completely honest with ourselves about. I'll just give you a few examples of what I put outside of my pot that I still put into my relationship with Terry. I still have moments of doubting him. Yeah. So when I'm in those moments of doubt, I'm going to shift into, what did I put into my pot that could help this and enhance this? Oh, it's own my own pain, heal my fear and pain around doubting him. Let it go. Because what's the point of doubting him? It just causes me pain. It doesn't help my relationship if I express those doubts. It just damages it, right? So put outside your pot, just a few. You can start now and you can finish all of this off later. Some of those things that you are actually, let's be honest, still putting into the relationship that are not so healthy, that are damaging it. On the contrary, they're not even enhancing it, they're damaging it. I've put down expectations. I still have expectations of Terry. that he's going to provide for me. You know? Just because we've grown up in a society where men usually provide for their wives doesn't mean I can't, you know, do more on my side to help ease the financial pressure, right? I can also, I've put down control. There are still some moments where I can be a little bit manipulative. The feminine is very good at manipulation. And I do sometimes, it just sort of, it's kind of a way of controlling. Yeah, by little things that I might say in our conversations. And I think, yeah, perhaps I should just back off a bit, yeah. Own my pain around that. Sometimes I give him unsolicited advice. Alarm bells to a 60-year-old. My husband's 60. If he asks me for advice or for help or what do I think or whatever, then of course I'll share, but unsolicited advice, I don't know. I don't think it's enhancing my relationship. So these are things that I want to look at. Yeah. Worry. Sometimes I put worry into our relationship. It's not helping, is it? I need to heal my pain around the worry. Just a few ideas. I'm better and better at all of these things, but there's still a degree of them. And I think it's good to be honest with ourselves. Let's put them outside of your pot. Just take another minute to complete that list. How long is that list? Hopefully the one inside the pot is longer than the one outside of the pot. There's a lot of writing here. It's a bit alarming. Pages and pages of all the things that I'm putting into my relationship that I shouldn't really be putting into my relationship. It's good to have this list. I'm teasing you. It's good to have this list, right? Doing these activities is helping me a lot. So we can make it a promise, can't we, that everything that we've put outside of the pot, we can begin to eliminate and replace it with everything that we've put into our pots, right? All the good stuff. Beautiful. So can we, with this awareness of what we've written outside of our pots, can we make a promise to ourselves, to our other halves or to our loved ones and to the relationship to keep it outside the pot? Can we keep it outside the pot? Can we do our very best to keep it outside the pot? Perhaps that's something you can ponder on and see if you can make the promise to, at the very least, do your very best. You're going to stumble and fall. We're going to falter, all of us, because we're going to be triggered, right? But we can make a promise to ourselves to make up, like I did, as quickly as possible and say sorry and heal it as quickly as possible, yeah? And return to all the good stuff in the pot and do more of that instead. Keep shifting away from outside of the pot into the pot, into all the good stuff that you can put into your relationship. Who'd like to share one or two things that they're still putting into their relationships that they know, that you know full well, are actually causing some damage? Yes, Baharak. I love it. You're quick to put your hand up. It's good, babe. You got awareness.
Cool. Yeah, so my trauma response of stonewalling would be mine.
Stonewalling meaning just shutting down, not answering, just turning the cold shoulder.
Fear that answering, I think it's just because answering back in childhood just got me into a bad place. So it was better I just was quiet, and so it's my go-to.
It's beautiful. Actually, do you know what? At the end of when I was out in the garden, I was getting all these other things that I wanted to put into my pot. You can put this one in yours if you like. To think before I speak. Yeah. Instead of stonewalling, sweetie, you can transform that into to think before I speak. Yeah. To think before, is what I'm about to say going to enhance this relationship or cause confusion and damage? Do I need to just go away and reflect on this before I blurt back? Yeah. or before I stonewall. Yeah, you can transform it into something.
Yeah, I
positive.
think I overthink before I speak
Oh,
when it comes
right,
to
okay.
conflict.
Mm.
And then I'm not saying anything at all because I think of all the scenarios that could exist from me possibly saying that.
Yes, yes.
So
there's a sort of fear of maybe speaking up about something that you might
in
want to
in
say and getting it
conflict,
wrong.
it's not my usual go-to, but if it's conflict with somebody I'm fearful of losing, it's my
Yes.
go-to.
Maybe you can put into your pot something like a give up the power struggle.
Yeah,
There isn't really any winning and
that was
losing in a relationship.
that was the big thing they used to always say to me, power struggle. Anyway, yeah,
Good one. You can put it into your pot, give up the power struggle, and
yeah.
enter into just be,
I'm going to try and stop. This is like stop not defining what my needs and desires and feelings are. Like stop resisting not giving them.
Right. Okay. So opening yourself up to just be more loving,
Yeah.
right?
Trusting
Beautiful.
to do
So
that.
that goes in the pot, right? That goes in the pot. So yes, I suppose it's outside the pot because you want to stop the sort of your block, to lift your blocks, remove your blocks from being able to just love more openly.
Yeah.
I just say at this point that when you love someone, there's nothing to lose. Remember, we've talked about how love just loves loving. It just loves loving. And the more it loves loving. And it just keeps on loving. Just loves loving. And there's no end to it. Love. Yes. Love to love your baby, right? Exactly. Well remembered, yeah. Love loves loving. And there's an infinite amount of it. It doesn't have to be shared out equally in proportions or divided up. Because love loves fully when it loves.
Yeah.
So there you go, sweetie. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Be authentic with it. Be authentic with it, right?
And at the same time, I've also I want to stop enabling negative behavior because in a way, the silence or the stonewalling can also enable negative behavior.
Yes, so you're enabling it with your responses to things, aren't you? So perhaps there's a place that you can go to and something you can put into your pot to just be more, allow yourself to be vulnerable and go, you know what, I don't know what to do right now. I'm feeling.
But sometimes my silence gets misunderstood as agreeable to their negative sides of their nature. Whereas if I just said like, hey, that's not on, or I don't, that's over the top. Like, if I just said that, then it would, I think it would be it would be more it would gain more respect.
Yeah. Could you say it, for example, instead of like, hey, that's not on, because the energy is, it's almost a sort of, there's a slight sort of attack energy in that energy.
That doesn't work for me.
Well, could you own it? Yeah. You go, you know what? Oh, I feel a bit hurt. Yeah. Own everything. Yeah. Because if the minute you start to send a blame or a little attack or a little something back, it's just going to cause more damage. So it's thinking before we behave, before we respond, before we react. Oh gosh, and maybe choose your timing. Choose your timing to share that vulnerable moment where, I feel in enormous amounts of pain around this form of address. Is it possible to talk about it, and maybe we can do things differently in the future? No blame, with no expectation either, and keep healing your pain around it, sweetie. Thank you, Baharat. It's beautiful. Yeah. Anybody else want to share just a couple more? Just a quick one. Diana, you want to share, sweetie?
I think mine would kind of all interrelate, like overthinking, controlling, impatient, ego. So like it's more of when let's say for example, like we're not in a really good spot, and then I'll be like, so where were you, why were you so busy, where have you been, and everything. And then when I know he's out or something, and then I'll try to see, and then he's very like, oh, I'm just out with friends or something, and I tend to find out like, oh, who were there, and then social media is toxic. It's just so toxic, and I feel, and it's always, and I get very impatient. I'm like, tell me about it, be honest to me. And then I think that really pushes them back against the wall, and I know they don't like it, but I guess that's just that overthinking and that trauma part, because like for me, I've been cheated on before, and I didn't like that. I hated that feeling, and that kind of pushed. And I think that the ego factor is there, because it's like, oh, how can he do that to me? How can I be a victim of something like that? So after that had happened a while ago, so now it's always like, I just make sure that I'm not the victim anymore. So if I know that there's going to be red flags, I think just like what we shared last week, I'm like, oh, red flags, I'm just going to run away, because I don't want to be hurt, I don't want to be ashamed, I don't want to be the one that, oh, look what he did to her, kind of thing. So but I find it like what you were just sharing just now, like if you love someone, you should just let go and you have nothing to lose. But I think I still have a little bit of problem letting go. Like being vulnerable is, yeah, I think I'm only vulnerable with like my parents and my brother. That's all. I don't dare to be. Yeah.
Yes. Could you own all of the pain around it, Diana, right now, before you sort of start to sort of go into control of finding out, where he's been? You say social media is toxic. That toxicity in social media, it's the beauty about social media and all these things outside of ourselves is they can affect us in any which way we choose, or not affect us at all. So whatever toxicity there is out there, in social media or whatever you're looking at, it doesn't have to affect you, if you've healed your pain around what's being shown on these social media platforms. Or if you're able to heal your pain around him just being free to just go play, he's much more likely to come home to you, because he's feeling you, he's feeling your energy. Remember we said in communication, that session, that the greatest communication of all is your energy. It's your beingness. So if you're going, even if you don't speak those words, he's feeling it. Even if he's on the other side of the world, he'll be feeling it, because energy travels immediately. It's immediately perceived. We just deny ourselves that awareness because we're not familiar with it, but it is there. So he'll be feeling it, even if you say nothing and you're in your worry and your mistrust that he's, where is he, what's he doing, and you're in your fears, he'll be feeling it. He won't want to come home, sweetie, because it's toxic. So that's ownership of that pain. I've been there. It's painful to own that, but if you can just do some healing around that, sweetie, you will enhance your relationships. So maybe outside of your pot, you've got mistrust, lack of trust. Maybe inside your pot, you can own my pain around mistrust and set you free, and myself in the process. These are big ones, and I know that kind of pain. It's scary. And self-love, the more I love myself, the more I can let him go and just be himself.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your vulnerability. Beautiful. We're spending a lot of time on key eye opener number 1, but we're bleeding into key eye opener number 2. So I won't have to spend too much time on key eye opener number 2, but I feel that this is important. So allow yourself to just know, or just see what you've put into your pots as a kind of promise. Promise to me, promise to the other, and promise to the relationship. And I'd like to invite you to do the same for every other person that you are in a close relationship with. So I've put down little pots that I haven't done yet for my dad, for my sister, for my bro, can't read it upside down, for my mum, for my daughter, and my stepson. Those are perhaps the most sort of immediate close relationships, or any relationships, maybe even at the workplace, that you feel you could enhance. At the end of the day, we're in the position to enhance all of our relationships, each and every one of them. And we are, as I said, infinite sources of all kinds of goodness that we can put into those pots, into those relationships. At the end of the day, it's our choice. This will relieve so much suffering. This will really allow your relationships on all fronts to grow and blossom. Has anybody got any questions before I move on to key eye opener number 2, which we've kind of already, yes, Yanchan, fire away.
So I wrote, obviously, like, you know, mum, dad, brother as well. So all the things I've written for Bobby also apply to my family. However, I figured there's probably one area that I might need to work on, and that is the one that shall not be named, called numbnuts. Okay. So and you know, much against my will, because I'm thinking, you know, my life has been fine without his presence, and I'd like to keep it that way. However, I'm not in a rush to reach out to him because everything's been fine. So I worry that, obviously, you know, there's going to be some turbulence if I reach out. You know, all the drama's going to start and whatever else. It's not me making assumptions. It's basically because I know how he is. So, but then the part of me is thinking, well, you know, maybe I should.
Yes.
But then,
Well,
you know,
if
I
there's a
don't
should
need
there,
to.
sweetie, if there's a should there, do some healing first, yeah? So maybe there's no need to reach out right now. Maybe it's your heart's truth not to reach out. Forgive me for interjecting so quickly. I just wanted to just catch you there. Because if there's a should, then it's because, you know, we're feeling like there's a should, right? But it's not in your heart's truth. A heart's truth movement is, I feel my heart expands because I feel that this is really what I want to do. So if there's no heart's truth there, then don't go there. That's not to be put in the pot. What we put into our pot is authentic. But maybe what you can put into your pot for, I shouldn't say this. I don't want to call it. I don't for your ex. I won't say numbnuts.
That's what we call him. The one that shall not be named. My brother
The
calls
one
him.
that shall not be
And we
named.
just call him num. Yes,
well, maybe put a name there when you do the pot or whatever. But when you do that pot for your relationship with him, yeah, because let's face it, even though you don't see him and haven't seen him for ages or whatever, you're still in a relationship with him. There's no doubting about that. So what about putting into that pot healing my pain around everything in this relationship? Because start there, sweetie. Just keep healing it, yeah? Healing my pain, and maybe just doing my best to just send you positive thoughts, real authentic positive thoughts. I can see the pain. I know there's a sort of, so, you know, heal my sort of maybe revulsion or whatever that is, Yencha. That's where you need to own it. That's what you need to own. I know it doesn't feel good, sweet, but can you sit there? Can you really allow yourself on one evening when you're alone, nobody's going to bother you, just sink into and observe all of that discomfort? Because that, when you clear that, the energy will open up to a much healthier relationship. It doesn't mean you have to see him, yeah, but maybe just energetically, you've cleared the space, and of course it'll help your son, right? It'll help your son. So just put into that pot what you are authentically wanting and willing to do. And you may be able to add later on, once you've done this initial stage of healing that sort of discomfort and sort of horrid feeling, yeah, or the fear around how he's going to respond if you do get in touch. I'm going to maybe put into the pot, heal my fear around how you're going to react if I do reach out or do get in touch. Those are things that are actually hurting you. They're actually hurting you. All that discomfort, yeah, we are feeling it. We're the ones feeling the discomfort. If I'm angry with someone, I'm the one feeling the anger. They ain't getting any of it. They might be jumping about, living life hunky-dory, and I'm in all my toxic anger towards someone. I'm the one that's suffering. The ego likes to be angry because it thinks it's powerful, but actually it's toxic. And we want to relieve ourselves of it. So self-love, sweet, maybe you could put self-love in that pot, yeah, to really own and heal and heal and heal and heal and heal until there's no negative energy between you. That's what we want, ideally, because we feel it, we suffer from it as well. Do you feel able to do that? Or just put one thing in the pot?
I think you hit, well, you mentioned one word, initiate. So I don't feel, okay, the heart's truth is telling me that I don't need to initiate anything. Even though I'm caught up in the moment thinking, right, you know, one side of me saying, do not so much do the right thing, but I'm putting myself in my boy's shoes and I'm thinking of my son. And then I see the progress, I see how we've been within the last few years. Yeah. And to be fair, we've done fine without a father figure. Well, my son without a father figure, and me without him as a co-parent. and stuff.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
therefore, I don't feel the need to have him back in our lives that soon. However,
Absolutely.
you know, my boy's coming up to 9 in May, and I know that he's going to be fine. He's going to be in high school soon, and you know, it's the worry that I have for the dad to come back whenever he wants to, make these excuses or whatever else, and I need to kind of be mentally prepared for him to rock the boat if that's what he chooses to do, and I've got a feeling he will. So I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. It's basically trying to, you know, find some sort of forgiveness for something that's not even happened. Do you
Yes,
know what I mean? It
exactly.
sounds, yeah.
Worry, yeah, is always about something that might happen. It's not actually real. So maybe you can address the worry, sweetie. Oh, I'm worried, okay? Just keep healing the worry, yeah? Because you may find that there's no need to worry. We don't know. It's an unknown, right? We've talked about the unknown. We don't know. We have no idea. But what you can do for yourself and this relationship that you have with him is just let go of the worry. Just be open to the unexpected. So there's some stuff there that I think perhaps can help you. And it may be your heart's truth to never see him again. It may be,
If
but
only.
not from a place of pain. Not from a place of pain. Heart's truth doesn't respond from pain. It's not that kind of never see you again. It's not pushing him out of your life that's never seeing him again. It's, you know what? It's fine. We're good. Even my son is okay in this space, yeah, without his dad. That's a big one for your son, and it may or may not be your heart's truth. But what I'm saying is, instead of keeping him at bay through worry, fear of how he's going to respond, through associations from the past, which I know are all, you know, very valid reasons to worry, but we're worrying at the end of the day about something that may or may not happen, about the future, which is an unknown. So I think there's a lot of healing in there. And if I were you, if I may say so, I'd put in that pot self-love, masses of it, which involves, of course, self-healing, yeah, owning the pain. You'll feel a lot better, sweetie. And what you want, what we all want, is to remove and release all the toxicity that we carry inside of ourselves towards other people or even towards ourselves. Because at the end of the day, we're the ones feeling it. And it's toxic for us. He may be sort of like in oblivion about it, probably is. So that's some self-love there, you know?
To be honest, it was this exercise. I was thinking, okay, I said before, didn't I? I can work on my family. All the stuff is the same. Maybe I could work with him. But then, like you said, his heart's truth is not telling me to do it. I'm just thinking, it's like, you know, the little little person on the right shoulder and the left shoulder is like, oh, you know, what if? He's like, nah, no, actually no. So in my head, I'm thinking, try and do the right thing. But realistic in my heart, it's like, no, you know,
Yeah,
I
the
don't need
right
to.
thing is the should.
And I'm like,
So wherever there's the right thing, when you're ever trying to do the right thing or wherever you feel you should be doing it, then that we're not in heart's truth yet, but there's likely some pain there. So let's just go into the pain, heal, maybe do some pots, some different relationships first, see how you get on. And then there's one final invitation I'd like to make for you all, actually. If you feel it's your heart's truth, and heart's truth is heart's truth, right? It's your intuitive knowing that this is right for you. And I know that this is right for me. This, I'm going to share it with my husband. I'm going to show him. I'm going to tell him that it's work in progress. Yeah, all of it's work in progress. But I want to show him because this is my commitment to this pot, to this relationship. This is my commitment because I love you. And I want us to fly. I want us to experience the magic. I promise you that once we, relating in ways where, from all of this, everything that's in the pot, magic happens. We do become the magician. We do become the magician. Yes, Baharak.
Just because Michelle's mic's not working, she's wrote it in the box.
Oh, thank you. I'm so bad at, okay, here we go. What's outside of the pot will be selfishness and ego. Yeah, care for my own interests. I can see that, yes. And refuse to admit my wrongdoings or apologize. These are beautiful earnings up. Well done, Michelle, for being so open about it. Feeling of entitlement and taking things for granted. I love it. How beautiful to own up about all of this and always being rebellious. So, yeah, good on you, sweetie. It's beautiful. How helpful is all of this to see what we are still putting in our relationships that actually could just be left outside of the pot? Yeah. Can you leave this outside of the pot, sweet? Can you, I mean, obviously, you know, we're gonna make mistakes, but could you keep transforming, yeah, what's outside of the pot, leaving it out and turning it into what's inside the pot? Can you do that, Michelle? Good on you. Yeah, we have the awareness, right? We have the awareness now that we can see what we've listed outside of our pots. We have the awareness of what really is not helping. That's the work. That's what we need to eliminate. How do we eliminate it? We can't just go, oh, just turn a blind eye, because we're going to keep stumbling and falling. We have to heal the pain around it. Yeah, there's no way out of that. So wherever there are tears rolling, wherever there's pain, you can feel, you're feeling the pain already, right, Michelle? Just let it roll. Let it go. Yes, I can see that this is where I'm not actually behaving maturely in my relationships, lovingly in my relationships, where my heart's shut down. Heal, heal, heal. There you go. And that will enhance your relationships, and you will come into a place where, wow. I'll share at the end what it gets to. Juan, did you want to say something, sweetie? You turned your video on a little while ago. I wasn't oblivious of it. I'm just so busy
Hi,
focused on all of you all.
hi everyone.
Hi, beautiful.
I'm kind of in the same boat as Yen, thinking of shutting people out rather than letting people in. But I'm glad I still tune in today, because this is probably the next level that I need to be at when I get through all this current relationship mess.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's good to look ahead to see what is possible, and rather than getting fixated with numbnuts.
With the negatives, yes, yes.
Yeah.
The thing
So
is, when we talk about shutting someone out, it doesn't eliminate or annul the relationship. Even if we're
yeah,
divorcing and separating and, you know, all those kinds of things, or not seeing that other person, we're still actually in a relationship with them. So might as well put the best stuff we can still, even though we may be in excruciating pain around so many things, into the pot, because it'll make it easier actually, and it'll empower you. It does empower you to be loving. Is there any empowerment in shutting somebody out and shutting down? It feels like it for a bit, and I'm not saying that there are times when we just, you know, I'm not invalidating the fact that there are times when we just need to keep somebody out of our space or even end a relationship. There are moments and times in our lives when that is absolutely valid and necessary. But there isn't, even in that process, we don't need to shut our hearts down and shut them out. And this is a tricky one, but it is, I'm inviting you today to just keep your heart open. Keep putting good stuff into that pot. Authentically, not shoulds or the right things, but what I authentically know that I can put into this pot, yeah, that's going to enhance this relationship, even if I'm in the middle of a divorce. I wish my brother was on this call, but he'll just go, oh, no, because he's in so much pain. I mean, it's excruciating. In fact, I could hear him on a call with my parents, because he's often on calls with my parents, because he's going through a very, very tricky divorce, and there's all sorts of money involved, and it's just really ugly. And he's in so much anger that he would just go, forget it. He'd probably have left the video call by now, because he's in so much pain. I mean, I can't even say to him, you know what, just try to just heal the pain, because you're sort of in the process of becoming an ex-wife, so much negative energy and toxic energy, but you're also suffering from it. You're suffering from it more than her. If only it's only you who's suffering from all this anger and toxicity. So self-love can go into that pot, but he won't hear, because he's in too much pain, and I respect that, and so I don't say anything. But I think all of you on the call today, you know, you're on the call for a reason, right? And one, you said you're glad you turned up, yeah, because there's an openness, there's an inner knowing, there's a heart's truth movement that knows that I can put some things in this pot still that will enhance the relationship. Remember, we're talking about the relationship, the pot, It's not for them or for me, it's for us. It's for the relationship. So you get to benefit as well. Instead of sticking with the things that are outside the pot, which they bring you down, they disempower you, they get us nowhere, they just cause damage. So it takes great strength to do this, and the strength comes from our own self-love. Healing, 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 healing. That's my way of doing it. I can't turn a blind eye to my pain. I used to, I don't anymore. I practice healing every single day of my life. Whenever I'm in fear, discomfort, pain, even sometimes before these calls, I get a little bit nervous. I'm just healing, 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 healing. Make it your daily practice. And you will see the changes, and you'll look back on yourself, in a year's time and go, wow, God, I'm different. I'm more of me. And then you can put more of you into the relationship eventually. I should have put me. I'm going to put me. I did put it in a way, total authenticity, which isn't me. Does that help at all, Juan? Do you feel able to put some good stuff into that pot?
Yeah, I can understand what you mean, that even though you think the relationship is ended, but the energy from that relationship is still lingering within.
It's still alive. Like, it will be, because he's the father of your children.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the faster resolution is to have a closure within yourself. Maybe shut the pot and put it somewhere else for a while. Just think about it for a while. And concentrate on other pots.
That's not quite what I'm getting at. I'd like to invite you to keep the pot open and just be utterly true to yourself. I know there's a lot of pain there, yeah? But maybe just put, heal my pain. Maybe that's what you can put in the pot right now. Just heal my pain.
Just one thing.
Yeah, just one thing. Just put one thing in there. Self-love. And it will help the relationship. Good on you. Who feels open and willing to show this to the person that they've done it for? Like, I'm going to show this to Terry. Who feels like they're quite confident and like actually that it's going to enhance their relationship to actually share them? Or just, you can just show me your hands. I definitely am going to show this to Terry. Lovely, lovely. Yes, Yen Chan, and I tell you, he's going to love it when your son is going to love it when you show this to him. And I can't wait to do this for my daughter, actually. I just can't wait.
I reckon I'll probably just get a, yeah, mum, and then bugger off. At least I've done it. At least I showed him.
Some children are so aware, and somewhere I feel like it will really resonate. Maybe choose your timing, right? Maybe when he's had his gaming and he's had his time on the iPad or whatever. But bedtime is quite a goodie. Yeah. When you're together and snuggling up, ready to put him to bed and stuff. Baharat, you put your hand out. You're willing to share? Good on you, sweetie. It's quite a vulnerable place to share. What, sweetie?
If the opportunity comes, then yes, I will.
If the opportunity comes and if you feel it's in your heart's truth, yes. Because it's quite vulnerable. Because you're not just showing the good stuff. Remember, you put some horrid stuff. I put it in a sort of nasty colored brown. You know what I mean? Kind of brown. It's not very nice stuff, right? But Terry already knows because he's lived it. It's not like this is new that I'm controlling. He's like, oh yeah, okay. I'm glad to see that you put it outside. I'm glad to see that you've recognized it. I mean, he already knows because we've had so many conversations around it. And I'm so happy to see what you put in the pot. That's like super duper cool, right? So
are you gonna like, would you like, because I'm thinking, I'm gonna be like wishing they did a pot too.
No expectations,
Yeah.
but you can suggest. It's a very good exercise. You can suggest, but again, maybe you can put into your big pot before you do that.
Yours.
Sorry?
I'll show you my pot if you show me yours.
I was going to say, would you? Yes, well, be careful with that. Maybe you can put in your pot no expectations. Totally, yeah. I promise to let go of expectations. Make sure he sees that before you say, I'd like you to show me your pot. All right, I think we're ready to move on, unless anybody's got anything a big urge to say something right now. Ready to move on to key eye opener number 2, which we've actually really kind of already addressed. Key eye opener number 2 is, how can we put all of these things into our parts, into our relationships, and ensure that they grow from them? We've already really addressed this. Would anybody like to answer this? How can we ensure, yes, we've put all these nice things in the pot, but what can really ensure that this is going to help my relationship blossom? That this is the right fertilizer? What's the right fertilizer to make sure that this grows? That it really works? Any words that come to mind?
If I may share, Rosalind, I think action. I think we've already put all this down, and we've already acknowledged all this. But if we don't do anything about it, there's no point.
Yes.
I think that is what I'm getting from when you ask that question. Like, I think we've already filled all this up, but if we just hang it and not look at it and not really work on it, then nothing will progress.
Yes, good point. Yes, a commitment to action, very much.
Yes.
A commitment to, this isn't just a sort of willy-nilly wishy-washy promise that I'm going to stick on my wall and go, oh look, I'm so nice, I put all those nice things in my relationship. What a good person I am. Not good enough, is it? Commitment to action, very much. But there's one other thing that I'm looking for, and yes, that's extremely important, and that's definitely, obviously, something that we definitely need to do. Anybody else? What do we have to? How can we make sure that everything that we've put in that pot, that we want to put into our relationships, how can we make sure that it truly enhances it? This is a big one for Yen Chan, actually.
It was similar to Diana. I mean, I know you said action, but implementing. So just implementation. Just being, for me, it would be being consciously aware to make those changes. So one of the things that I put down, I'll just give you an example, was why do I act a certain way with my son? And it's because of time. So I recognize that actually it's because if I'm rushing around, I'm not managing my time wisely. Therefore, I'm reacting and putting on him. So I noticed, like, at night when he's got this routine to get to bed, everything's rushed because I'm thinking I've got to do this at a certain time, and if I go over, then I take it out on him. And then come about 9 o'clock, my attitude changes. I know I'm starting to get tired. I'm up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm I turn into horrible Yen, and he knows that. But everything's a rush, so it's about me looking at myself, and imagining my time, and just giving him the time that he needs because he's done nothing wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So have you put that in your pot?
Yeah. Well, outside my pot. Oh no, I need to put it in my pot.
You could put, you can transform what you've put outside your pot. Think of what the opposite would be. It would be something like better time management, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I just remember. Yeah.
You could put that down in your pot, better time management, because that'll definitely enhance your relationship with your son. You won't go into the horrible Yen, as you say. I'm going to be quoting. Yeah. Yes, definitely. Yes. Yeah, so we're committing to action. We're committing to implementation. Yes. What we do have to make sure, we have to make sure of one thing, that everything that we put into that pot is totally and utterly authentic. You really do want to put it into your pot. There's no point putting into your pot something that you think, maybe one of us have said, but that you don't feel you want to put in there. Because if you do, and then you start to do the should stuff, that's why I said it's a big one for you, Yen, then we're not really enhancing our relationship if we're behaving from a should or an expectation. So what you put into your pot has to be truly, and we were talking about it, one's example is very clear for this, what we genuinely want to put into our relationship. It's not like, oh yes, I like what Baharak said, I like what Michelle said, I like what so-and-so said, I should do this, should do that. It's not shoulds. I genuinely, and that's why you feel that warm and fuzzy feeling. When I was in this, I was like, oh God, I was actually loving my husband even more as I was doing this. I was already enhancing my relationship by doing this activity, quite literally, because I just feel so much love him, thinking that, yeah, I can do this because I love you so much. And it's just like more and more and more of a heart-opening space. So if you're putting shoulds in there, or the right things to do, as Yen says, forget it. Take it out now. Yeah, so there may be some scrubbings out to do there. It's got to be authentic. It's got to be what you truly want to put into that relationship and what you want to give that relationship from your heart, not from your head, not from what society dictates you should do in a relationship and blah, blah, blah. Heart's truth all the way. Yes, Juan. Is there still just one thing in your pot?
I'm getting confused. Like, if you put in that pot to nurture a relationship, how many seeds is for you, and how many seeds is actually what the other person wants? Is there a differentiating? Like, are you putting seeds in there that of what you want to plant?
Just think of it not as seeds for you, and not as seeds for them. Think of it as just the seed for the relationship to grow. Just think of it as one seed. I'm going to water this seed. The seed is a relationship. And I'm going to water this seed. How can I water it to let it grow and blossom? Yeah. So think of it more as the pot. That's why I put the pot there. The relationship is what's happening between you and the other. It's not the other and it's not you. It's everything. It's the third thing that's created when two people come together. I like to say it's like the Holy Trinity, and the relationship is part of that. You, me, the other, and the third thing. So think of the third thing. How can I make that third thing better? Don't think of this as doing something for the other. Because if you do, you're eliminating yourself in the equation. And then you get to this thing of how many seeds do I put in and how many seeds does he put in? And it becomes one of these sort of like slight sort of competition-y, power struggle-y scenarios, yeah? Which is where we just went, right, Juan? So this is a really good point here. Hi, my darling, my love, my beautiful soul. My husband's just turned up. I just need to finish this because I'm going to lose my train of thought. And this is very important, and I'm really glad it's come up, yeah. What you put into that pot is not for the other. It's not for me. It's for the relationship. It's for us. Very important. And think of it as just one seed, because if it's like 2 seeds or 3 seeds, then we're going to go into, you know, I'm putting this in and you should be putting that in, and it gets a little bit sort of complicated. Yeah. So think of it like that one. And
okay.
Yeah, does that help?
Yeah.
Thanks. And then you both benefit. This is where, you know, we're stepping into a new level of consciousness, I would say, and humanity is moving this way now as well. We're moving away from me and you, and we're moving into a society of us, because we're all in this together, let's face it. And like I said in our last call, we are the building blocks of society, and our relationships especially are the building blocks of society. So when we come into the mindset of us, of we, yeah, everybody wins. There's no us and them anymore, or me and you anymore. There's just us together. And this is where everybody grows in strength and empowerment, and all the magic happens. The magic happens when it's about us, not about you or me. That's a promise. And that's really important. So I'm really glad that came up. I hope I've interpreted what you were saying correctly and given you a helpful answer. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just want to welcome my husband. Hi, darling. It's lovely to have you on board. I'm going to be sharing with you. We've been filling our pots up, our pots being our relationships, and I did one for my relationship with you, which I will share. I'm sharing now. There you go. But I'm gonna take a photo of it and send it to you so you can see what promises I make. They're kind of gentle promises. These are not like should promises or the right thing to do promises. These are things, movements of my heart that I just so want to put into my relationship with my husband, because my heart just wants to keep loving. Yeah. And that's what we want. The heart chakra needs to be open. It wants to love. So when you shut down or shut out, which are kind of the same thing, let's face it, you're actually preventing yourself from loving, and you're actually shutting down your heart chakra. We can't really function very well with the heart chakra shut down. And your relationships are ideal opportunities for you to open those heart chakras back up. They will kind of like make you do that, because they'll bring up your pain, But if we own our pain and we make the promise to own our pain and heal, as the pain goes, what's left is love. So to ensure that what we've put into our pots really truly benefits our relationships, helps it grow and blossom, it has to be authentic. Real heart's truth choices of what you want to put into that pot, not shoulds and shouldn'ts. So there is some healing to do there, yeah. If there's anywhere where you feel that you don't want to give one, if your pot's empty, there's some healing to be done there. To give, it's not manager. We thought so. We thought so. And that's why we've ended up globally in a big mess. But it's not in our nature to not give. It's painful to not give. And who's feeling the pain? I. So there's work to be done. Fear of giving, fear of loss, whatever the fear is, whatever the pain is. If there's anger, just keep going there, keep going there to clear all of this out the way. These are like the clouds that block the sun. The sun is you and your love and your heart wide open and shining bright. And all we're doing is clearing the clouds out of the way when we clear the pain. The heart's still there and it just wants to love. It just wants to shine bright. Yeah? So allow the tears to roll. Feel the pain. Yeah, feel the pain. Use whatever modalities, yeah, that you know to keep healing. It's one of the best things we can do. And you'll find it easy to put stuff in the pot. Start with just one thing. Self-love, one for you. A lot of it. Self-healing. That, as we already know, because we did it in a few sessions ago, we did selfish or self-love. Self-love enhances my relationships. It makes it easier for me to love the other because I love myself so much. I'm free of all the issues that are in the way. Yeah. So just put that into the pot right now, sweetie, if you feel that's your heart's truth. Mm-hmm. Great. Okay, so key eye opener number 2, make sure it's authentic. Don't put into the pot anything that you feel you should put into the pot because you're going to be causing more damage than good. It's got to be from the heart. Beautiful. And this leads me swiftly on to key eye opener number 3. Just going to check the time. Yes, okay. What can I take out of the pot? What can I take out of the pot? Now that I put all this great stuff, I mean, look at what I'm putting into my relationship with Terry. This is my pot. The pot's my relationship with you, my love. It's like a little promise that I'm making to us to think nice thoughts, to enhance how we communicate, to bring greater freedom. I'm offering greater freedom, to be more gentle, to be more authentic. I'm putting all of these things, more of all of these things into our relationship. That's my promise to my husband. Yeah. So what can I take out of the pot now? I want a whole lot back. I want a return on my investment. I want my car, now that I've filled up that tank with, best petrol on the market, I want it to drive me to Timbuktu and back. Yeah. I've given, man, I've given. So I want something in return. What do you think you take out of the pot? What do you think you can take from the relationship? Who wants to hazard a guess? You know me, it's a trick question. But it gets you thinking. I like my trick questions. Come on. Who wants to throw it out there? What can you take out? A big, fat nothing. What am I going to take out of my pot? I've put all of this in the pot, into my relationship. I want something in return. but I've given this authentically. I've given this because I love to do this. So why would I want to take anything out in the first place? I'm playing a little bit with your psyches here. What I'm trying to say is that if you put into that pot authentically, if I promise to be and am, because I'm going to take action on this, more gentle with my husband, I get to benefit anyway from that very act. Remember, we talked about this in giving and receiving. If I'm giving from my heart, I don't need to take anything, because I've enhanced the relationship so much that it's just automatically available to me to just simply what? Enjoy it. If I want to take something out of the pot, it's because I'm probably expecting something in return, which means that I'm probably in some degree of pain still. I know this sounds like a big one, and we sort of like grow up to think that, you know, if I do this, then you should do that. If I put 3 seeds in, then you should put 4. Yeah. But if I've put those 3 seeds into that relationship and have watered them with all my love, and they're beginning to grow and look like little sprouts, and then, oh, look, there's a little flower and a bud and a da-da-da-da-da. I'm getting what I want already. The phrase, "it takes 2 to tango," comes into mind. It doesn't necessarily take 2 to tango. I'm throwing everything up into sort of, you know, I'm sort of reversing it all here. It doesn't necessarily take 2 to tango. If I've put into that relationship everything from my heart, and I'm healing my pain and I'm loving myself, I can just enjoy and watch it grow in whichever direction it wants to go. Maybe it's the end of the relationship, but I can still enhance it, can't I? Does this resonate? It's thinking outside the box, and I do this occasionally. I sort of throw your whole mindset right out of the box, because I don't want to take anything from my relationship with my husband. I love him so much. I want him to be free, free of my expectations, free of thinking that if I put 2 seeds in, you need to put 2 or 3 actually. I want to be free of that, because guess what? That ties me up. It binds me to constantly expecting him to do this way or that way. I love him enough to let him just be. I do now. I've got there. I'm getting there. I have so much love for my husband. I've done a lot of work, trust me, and I'm not out of the woods. But I'm at a point now where I have so much love for my husband that whatever he chooses, whatever heart's truth he chooses, I'm strong enough inside of myself. I've done enough healing of my pain to know that if he chooses to perhaps never see me again, if that's his heart's truth, or not provide for me, which was one of my little things outside of my pot that, you know, okay, if that's his truth, then it'll put me in my truth, and I have to maybe heal my pain around it and just do what I need to do to make sure that I can provide for myself. Do you get me here? Is anybody getting me? This is mature relating. And we can't escape it, because if we try to escape it, we're going to stay in pain and immature relationships. We want that pot. Once we've put all that stuff into it, we want it to shine bright. Yeah. So my invitation to you today is to absolutely make sure, key eye opener number 2 is really important, to put only into that pot what's absolutely authentic. And then the reward is automatic. You will automatically get the reward because it's a joy to put it in. Yeah. So if it's not a joy to put it in, look at where the pain is. You're probably moving in with a should, an expectation of yourself that you should put this into your relationships. If there's no joy around putting it into the pot, look at the pain around it. Go, don't really want to. He was nasty to me yesterday. I don't really want to be a good listener today. Ugh. Yeah. And maybe the first thing you need to do is just heal my pain around being a good listener. Listen to your own self. Do whatever you need to do so that you can come back into that heart open space that can be a good listener. Because that's at the end of the day, your heart's truth is to be the good listener, isn't it? But I can't be the good listener if I'm in pain. Yeah. So I need to just keep healing that. Can you see how beautifully mature we can become in our relationships if we do really behave authentically and put authentically into that pot? And as Diana said, commit to taking action on it, which means committing to healing our pain if we're in pain. If there's a shutdown, if there's a shut out, yeah. If there's nothing to put into my pot, I'm in pain, clearly, because it's not in our nature to not give. Yeah? Everybody with me? Yeah. So I've written here that there's nothing to take out, because if what you put in is authentic and from the heart, the reward, the return on your investment, in inverted commas, is automatic. It's the joy of putting into the pot that ultimately feeds the relationship. It's the joy of watering the seed that is feeding the relationship. Yeah? That's the joy. The joy is the reward. And then your partner and you in the process are free. That's why it's so important to be authentic from the heart. If you're nourishing the soil, yeah, if you're watering the seed with your love, with authenticity, yeah, you just get to enjoy watching the relationship blossom, grow and blossom. You just get to enjoy it. Nothing else to do. Yeah. But there's, there's a lot of watering to do perhaps for some of us in terms of the healing, self-healing. So take the onus away completely from the other and take it fully on board yourself. And you will benefit, your relationship will benefit, and so will the other. And I've put down here, you can only reap what you have sown. So if you sow healthy seeds, you will automatically get what you need. Yeah? You will benefit automatically, because that's the nature of true giving, of authentic giving. That's the automatic reward of putting into the pot everything that's going to enhance your relationship from an authentic point of view, from your heart. Has anybody got any questions on this key eye opener 3, which I know is thinking outside the box a bit, but let's face it, I feel that this is the truth. I don't want to preach and say that this is the only way, but I don't see any other way. Does anybody see any other way? If you put into that pot something that you feel you should do and you're behaving from it, it's not sustainable. You're going to feel drained. You won't feel like you're blossoming with the relationship. Does anybody have any questions or anything that's niggling them that they don't like about what I'm sharing right now? Because I can see how it could just challenge you, right? This is mature relating. Yin-Chan.
Can I just say, I wish I'd done this 2018 before I threw him out. This would have cemented everything for me. Do you know what I mean? Like putting everything in the pot and, presenting that to him, having that conversation instead of me thinking, and being in doubt and worry and stuff like that. And just thinking, you know what? It's all here.
Yes.
And this could be really great for one, actually. Just getting everything on paper. And if you can, just basically having a conversation with your other half and see what he brings to the table.
If it's heart's truth. Yes, yeah, and it's beautiful that you share that, and it's never too late. You can put it in that very relationship now. It's never too late. The beauty of all of this is that you've learned where your pain is. You've learned where, you know, he brought up your pain, right? All kinds of stuff came up to the surface, anger, pain, all the horrible feelings. It was brought up in that relationship for you to heal, 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 heal. Yeah. And then move into an authentic relationship, put into that relationship what's authentic. Yeah. And it's only in heart's truth, one, if you want to share. Yeah. Only in heart's truth. If you wanted to share the pot. Is that what you were saying, Yen, to show it? Yeah, only in heart's truth. It may not be. And I wouldn't ever say, oh, go ahead and share this. You must. No, 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 no. It's only if it's your heart's truth. It's definitely my heart's truth to take a photo and send it to Terry, because I'm just so happy with it and I love you so much. And I just want you to see my commitment to us. I want you to see how committed I am to you and to me and to us and to our daughter. Yeah. And to your family, because the benefits are for everybody. Yeah, if our relationship is enhanced, then off Terry trots, feeling so good about his relationship that it in turn enhances all his relationships, not least with our daughter. Everybody gets to benefit. That's the beauty of it. So the ripple effect of all this amazing work that you do on your relationships to enhance them is unlimited. It's unlimited, quite literally. It doesn't stop. It just keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. And it keeps just sort of traveling through all the relationships, everyone they know, and then everyone that they know, and so on and so on and so on. Yeah. It just keeps going. So how cool is that? That the acts of love that we're putting into these pots of ours, these relationships of ours, have a knock-on effect that's unlimited. You can heal the world now through these kind of actions and commitments. How fabulous is that? It's like, that's magic. Just the same as if you don't, you draw the world and consciousness down. We've talked about this a bit before, and I'm not going to go into all the big stuff about that, but you can see where I'm headed, right? That's not to put any weight on your shoulders. On the contrary, it can lift the weight. It's like, oh my God, how cool is that? Yeah, if I choose to be more gentle with my husband, he's going to feel so much better about it. So am I. Off we trot into our relationships with our parents or our child or our friends, and we're so happy and so cool and buzzing with all the love in our relationships that it rubs off on them. And off they go, trotting off with a bit of that buzzed off love rubbed off on their shoulders, and so on and so on and so on. That's magic. That's energy. Anybody want to share anything before I go into my quick recap of what we've been talking about today and just share my last and final truth with you, or secret or whatever? Everybody good to go? Yes, my love, yes.
I just think it's just, I mean, you know, we're talking about what we want to give, but it just triggered me, like, thinking about it. Like, it's also what we were willing to receive. And I was just thinking how, well, you know, it's just making me think of something, and I'm just like, I think I put too much, like, wanting to receive love as I saw love to exist, and not how they were willing or able to give it. And also a little bit of like resentment, because I knew they weren't free to fully give, and I would be like resentful that is this really true what you're giving to me, or is it just
yes. So there's some healing there, sweetie. There's some healing around mistrust.
I mean, with good reason, but still, it's like
good reason, but from associations from the past.
Yeah, well,
from the past? No?
just like their life wasn't as fully free as it should have been, and I was expecting too much from them, I think. Now that I think about it.
Can you feel the beauty of putting into your pot, letting go of expectations? Can you feel the freedom that you allow him to have, to just be the best he can be with you?
Yeah.
And let
I can see now that they really wanted to give more, but they just couldn't. They were in a predicament.
And that's fine. And the more you let go of expecting them to do that, the freer they are to give it. They'll feel it. We communicate mostly on an energetic level. We've talked about this. So he'll be feeling your communication, like that you've let go. He won't be feeling the pressure or the pull to do it. So he'll be feeling how his freedom, he'll be feeling his freedom. And in that freedom, I can't say for sure, but it's likely he'll be more open to you and more able to open up.
Mm.
The expectation is a little bit of a threat. It's like, oh, you know, I expect you to. It's a little bit, it's got a slightly threatening energy to it, yeah. It's got a lot of pressure.
Yeah, also when two people have a controlling nature, yeah, I've got the Middle East in me, it's there. And then he also has a controlling nature. I call it the Irish, I'm not sure. There's something in him as well. And I think that like because of that and the two coming together, somebody has to give up something. And neither of us was wanting to give up. So I'm seeing that now.
Can you give up control, sweetie? Remember we looked at control, when was it? Was it not last?
Lead the way, don't they?
So look at what's underneath control, yeah? And
Yeah.
the reasons why you can, control is a big one. I just actually had some huge healing on Sunday morning around fear and control. And
when life's been so chaotic and out of control in your past, it's like control is the only way you feel sane, but it doesn't have to be that way, and I'm trying.
It doesn't mean, you know, when you let go of control, we talked about this, it doesn't mean that there's no order. It doesn't mean that you can't things. It's when you can feel when you're moving into a little bit too much, when it's sort of like treading on each other's toes a little bit, you know, when you're in his space and you're sort of trying to do things for him, or getting him to do things your way. And, you know, you can feel it. We all have an innate sense in us when we feel we've stepped over the mark a bit, yeah. So just be completely honest with that in your own self. Yeah, okay, time to step back. Oh, I'm sorry if I tread on your toes. I'm sorry, I did get a bit controlling with you then. I'm doing my best. I'm going to just go and work on what's underneath that, which is fear or something. You could be transparent. I sometimes am like this with my daughter when I get a bit controlling. It's like, oh, I'm really sorry, Mummy's just so scared that you're going to get a cold because she doesn't want to put her shoes on in freezing weather and stuff like that. Yeah. So, you know, we do sometimes, and we will continue to behave from our pain. But the more awareness we bring, yeah, the more ability and commitment we have to healing that pain, owning it and healing it, the more we will enhance our relationships, right?
Yeah. Just also like when you like honestly, I parented my parents. Like I had to, like, and especially my dad, like even to this day I like parent a 70-year-old man, you know. And I try. It's no choice, honestly. If I could have another choice, I would have it. So yeah, but it's really hard.
Tell you what, I'd like to invite you when you do your pot for your dad. If you haven't, if it has, it's not the one you've done. When you do your pot for dad, I'd like you to put down, if I may, only if it's authentic to you, openness to being my true self with you.
Yeah.
Just being open to it, not being my true self. Because you see, there's a sort of fine line. Being my true self with you is almost like a should. It's almost like taking me into that expectation of myself, but being open to being my true self with you, my authentic self with you. Does that feel
I'm definitely, yeah. I try to have more humor with him nowadays than I used to ever. So that's a bit more myself.
Yeah, I'm sure you can have a lot of humor.
He has this habit of talking like I'm doing now, talking over people. And his new wife, who's she's younger than me, he started talking over her, and she didn't understand his past, and that's who he is. And just like when she was trying to tell me about her job, and I waited for him to stop. I didn't interrupt. And when I was done, I said, Dad, just so you know, you shouldn't interrupt people when they're telling me something. And then I had to be firm, but it's like I'm parenting my dad.
Do you have to though, sweetie? I'm really opening. I want to just very, very quickly, because we haven't got much time.
Just because I saw her eyes just drop in sadness, and I just felt like her pain. I knew it. I've been there, and I didn't want him to lose another wife, even though this one would be. So I was like, I've got to do something here. No one else is going to see this.
I really understand all of that, but I can feel that there's some pain around there. There's some pain around your pain, yeah, and projecting your pain onto her, yeah. There's pain for your dad of maybe losing another, you know, a person that he loves and all of that. And I understand the reasons for it, but we're behaving from pain here. What if you could put into that pot in your relationship with your dad? These are things to look at. This is quite good that it's coming up. Openness to trusting that you and your partner are on your paths and experiencing exactly what you need to experience to just enhance your own relationship in your own way. Something along those lines. And just, it frees you up, sweet, to just be you. Yeah. There is always a choice. There is always a choice. Yeah. But am I moving into the rescue? I got to rescue my dad, yeah, from making the same mistakes. The truth is, you're not going to be able to change him, because while you're not around, he's doing it all the time to her. Yeah. So I would suggest that you take a step back, yeah, and own your pain around it and keep healing your pain around it. Yeah. And communicate in the best way you possibly can when you're in his presence, yeah. And perhaps just leave them to have their relationship and let it just take its shape and go the way it needs to go. Can you do that?
Oh yeah, I mean, I literally don't talk to them that much, but yeah.
Without shutting them out, yeah. These are all subtle differences that we need to be aware of. So really put into that pot with your dad, when you do your pot relationship with your dad, authentic stuff. Openness to being myself. Openness or willingness to not go into the rescuer, to not rescue anymore. Willingness to just own my pain. All of those things I think are probably valid in your pot.
Yeah.
And then put outside, and then do the list of what goes on outside the pot as well, like we did earlier on. The stuff that you do in your relationship with your dad that you don't like, that you actually kind of know in your heart's truth is not really enhancing the relationship.
I'm tired of being the adult in everything.
There you go. It's not sustainable. There you go. There you go. That's right. And that's the damage. And it's probably not helping him either, because he also wants to be the man, especially in front of his girlfriend. So he's probably not feeling too good about
his response when I did that, hers was "thank you so much," and his was, "I do." He goes, "Oh, I love you, Baharik." Like, that's what he said. So I don't think he took it too badly, but still.
Good. Well, but if you're feeling it, then there's work to be done. Yeah, if you're feeling the negative effects of it, he might be okay with it. That's fine. Okay, I'm going to move quickly on, because I'm going to start wrapping this up now. I just want to recap very quickly on what we've done. Key eye opener number 1 is to do this pot exercise for each and every one of your relationships, yeah, like we've done today. You've got the blueprint of it, yeah, and remind yourself of what you can put into your pots, what you can put into your relationships that will keep enhancing them. We need to contribute. We can't just sit back and expect that car to run on empty, yeah, and we need to contribute all the time, which means also self-love, which means renewing ourselves, yeah. Means bringing new stuff into the relationship as well. Actually, new conversations, interesting conversations, and to have those new and interesting conversations, actually, it means that you have to have some kind of new and interesting things going on in your life to talk about it, right? It could be a program that you watch, or it could be an activity that you decide to do, or a course, or another person that you might want to meet, or whatever, a book that you might want to read. Keep renewing your relationships and bringing new stuff into them, yeah, and keep putting into that pot only stuff that enhances it. Key eye opener number 2, make sure that what you put into that pot is utterly authentic and from your heart, and that it comes from no place of should or the right thing to do. Yeah. Those shoulds and right things to do may come later on, but you may not be ready to put that into your relationship just now. Yeah? And the last but not least, there's nothing to take. You've already received it all. If you're doing it from an authentic place, my heart's singing. I can't wait to share my pot to my, that sounds awful to me, to my husband. I can't wait to show you what I want to add to our relationship. And I can't wait to do the work to actually make sure that what I've been putting into the relationship stays out of the pot. So I still have work to do. So do we all. And the reward from putting what's truly authentic into your is what you get from the relationship. It comes automatically. It's an automatic reward. So there's nothing you need to take. Take is kind of like not fully giving, is it? It's not authentic. It's not come from an authentic place if you feel you need to take. I've kind of said this actually. I'm moving into my last secret of session, like the one big truth. Yeah. Your relationship is not determined by what you get from it or by what you give. It's determined by your joy of giving. It's determined by the joy with which you give. Remember I said to you that as I was doing this exercise, I was so happy to do it because I was so joyful to share with Terry what I want to put in. I'm already enjoying my relationship with him. I'm already getting it. That's determining my relationship. The joy of giving makes me enjoy this relationship so much more. Your experience of your relationships is determined by how much you enjoy putting into the pot, how much you enjoy enhancing your relationship, how much you enjoy giving to the relationship. So make sure it's authentic, make sure it's from the heart, and you will enjoy it. That's why ideally, when you are filling up your pots, when you do this exercise for other loved ones, ideally you want to be feeling that warm and fuzzy feeling that Yen Chan was talking about earlier. Because like, oh my God, I can't wait to do this. I can't wait to think more nice thoughts about my husband, even though I already think lots of nice thoughts. I don't think I think any nasty thoughts, but there's always room for more, right? To be even more aware, to have greater compassion, to be less, to be more patient, to be a better listener. I can't wait to do all of these things. That's the warm and fuzzy feeling. That's me already enjoying my relationship more. Yeah, the job is already started. It's already started just by doing this activity. So make sure what you put in there is something that you're going to really enjoy doing. And if there's joy there, then it's authentic. It's from the heart. Okay. And the more you enjoy putting all these lovely things into your relationships, it frees your partner up completely because you're getting from what you're putting in. You're receiving from what you're putting in. So actually, in a way, you're having a relationship with yourself. I'm enjoying putting all of this into my relationship so much that I don't need anything from you anymore. The only thing that's left to do is enjoy him or her. Are you with me? I'm loving putting all of these lovely things into my relationship so much that I don't need him to do this for me or that for me. He's free. She's free. And the chances are they're going to love everything that you've put in the pot so much they're just going to want to love you right back. Yeah? So we don't need to expect anything from our partners anymore. Just keep on putting those beautiful things into the pot. Magic will happen. Be the example. I just want to, it's not a quote, but I remember a dear friend of mine saying to me some years ago, she was saying to me that in the Quran, she's Muslim, and she said that in the Quran, it says that to love someone is to serve them. She said, the more you serve, this was actually talking about your son, Terry, Omar, who I went through many years of struggling with this. And she said, the more you serve him, the more you will come to love him. And I understood that, especially when I look at my daughter. The more I serve my daughter, the more good stuff I put into my relationship with my daughter, the more I love her. There's something, it's because love loves loving. Love loves serving. It loves it. It loves to give. It wants to give. So the more I give from my heart, the more I'm able to love whoever it is that I'm in a relationship with. So the Quran is right. I don't know where it says it in the Quran. I haven't read the Quran and I don't know how it says it, but it's along those lines when you serve another with your love in whichever shape or form it takes. I'm not talking about being a servant or a slave here. I'm talking about being loving towards them, putting into that pot what you can and committing to taking action on what you put into the pot. Yeah, the more you love them, and the more free they are to love you back or do as they please. Chances are they're going to want to love you back because they're so free. It's like, this woman's loving me so much. She's so unconditionally loving because she's getting so much joy out of how she loves me. But I'm free to love her back. I love her. It's not even that I'm free to love her back. It's just I love how she loves me so much, or he loves me. This is cool. Yeah, it really does enhance. So there's one last little quote, and Terry, you're right on time. Terry shared this beautiful quote with me a couple of days ago, and I said, oh, bingo, because I was already thinking about my topic for today. And I'm going to finish off with, if I may invite you, darling, if it's your heart's truth, to share, to read it to us. It's, we actually, funnily enough, we talked about this same author, I think last week, so it's spot on. Have you got it with you, sweetie? It's in our last sort of few messages, I think. You need to turn you need to unmute your microphone. For those of you who don't know my husband, this is my husband, Terry. And you're right in the middle of the screen for me. I don't know where he is on your screen, but your little, whatever you call it, photo is right in the middle.
Are you talking about the Khalil Gibran one that I sent you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got it here if you haven't got it.
Yeah, I've got it. Your seeds shall live in my body, and the buds of your tomorrow shall blossom in my heart. And your fragrance shall be my breath, and together we shall rejoice through all the seasons. Khalil Gibran.
That's the kind of thing I'm getting at. When you see someone love so much, you can't help but love them back. You can't help but rejoice in how beautiful their blossoms are. You can't help but rejoice in the fragrance. Can't help it. So when you embody that for yourself in all of your relationships, they're going to look at you and go, oh my God, I love you. And if they don't, they're likely in pain. So you just keep on putting into that pot all the understanding and gentleness and patience authentically from your heart. Because your heart doesn't run out of juice. Your heart doesn't run out of petrol. Your heart isn't the fuel tank in a car. Your heart is the infinite. So don't believe for a second that you're going to run out of love juice, because you're not, if it's authentic. And you will be that blossom. Your relationship will be that beautiful cherry blossom. And people have been sharing loads of photos of blossoms out now, so it's perfect time to talk about it. It's spring. You will be that, and they will love you so much for it. Has anybody got any questions before we sign off? You're all such beautiful souls. Never, never think for a moment that your heart is limited. This is a belief, and we do behave like that. We behave that in ways that think that our love is limited. It's just like nature. It never ends. It never ends. So if you've stopped giving, it's because you're in pain, not because there's no love juice left. It's just because you're in pain. So heal the pain, heal the pain, heal the pain. Clear the clouds and go shine that beautiful love. I love you all very, very much. Thank you so much for joining. I'm absolutely honored to give these talks, and I feel that this has been a really good one. I really hope so. My intention is to put lots of love into your pots, because I have a relationship with you, Michelle, and you, Baharak, and you, Juan, and Rashini, and Diana, and Yen, and not least my husband. And I'm putting right into your pots everything that I possibly can today of my authentic self, of my love, of my understanding, of my wisdom, of my gentleness. I hope I have a relationship with all of you. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you so much. I hope to see you next time for more on relationships.